me ask you a question. Are you pondering if you should buy Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War in the year 2021? Of course you are. That's why you searched up this video, silly. Hey guys, it's Kyle here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of my Is It Worth It series, and today the game we're going to be going over is the last in the Black Ops franchise that we need to do is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I've done this for every other Black Ops game now, even World at War, considering they're in the same universe, so if you want to go check them out, they're in a link in the description below. But today what we're going to be doing is covering Black Ops Cold War and see if it's worth your money in 2021. In this review, we're going to be going over every game mode, so that includes campaign, multiplayer, and of course, if you watched my videos before, you know exactly what I'm going to say next. Zombies. Before we get into it though, if you could consider subscribing, it only takes a second, and if you end up hating me in the future, you can unsubscribe at any time. But with that said, let's get into Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. As we normally do with these reviews, let's start off with the foundation of the game, the campaign. First of all, let me give you a brief description of the campaign, and don't worry, there's not going to be any spoilers, we don't do that here. Just the very basics you're going to need to know before going into the campaign. Black Ops Cold War campaign is set during the early 1980s of the Cold War, taking place between Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Black Ops Cold War story is centered around one character, and that is Perseus. Perseus is a Soviet spy, and his one desire is to tilt the power from the USA to the Soviet Union. In the campaign, you play as Bell, who was recruited by Russell Adler. You join the CIA with familiar faces Frank Woods and Alex Mason, as we remember from Black Ops 1. We also see other familiar faces come back, such as Jason Hudson as well. With a brief description of what to be expecting in the campaign, let's break down how much content you're actually going to be getting as well. And what I mean by this is, let's break down how many missions you're going to be playing in and how much playtime is actually in the campaign. In the campaign, there are side missions as well as normal missions, but in total, you can have a maximum of around 9 missions in the game. As far as actual playtime goes, it is roughly around 4 hours, so definitely one of the shorter campaigns in the Call of Duty franchise. Now, with all the details of what to be expecting in the campaign, alongside with how much of a runtime it has and how many missions you're going to be getting, let's go to my personal thoughts of the campaign and if I think it's worth you actually buying the game for the campaign. I think Cold War's biggest problem is that it's a very short campaign, but it's completely saved by the fact that it's a phenomenal campaign as well. One other issue I do have with it though is that there are a few stuttering issues with cutscenes, so when you're in game there's not going to be any problems, but sometimes outside of game when you're in the cutscenes it gets a bit laggy. I really think this is a luck of cards thing, considering that I have it on PlayStation and when I played through it wouldn't do it once, but when I tried to play the game on PC it did it constantly. I really don't know when they're planning on doing something to properly fix it, but it's been a problem since the game came out, and hopefully they'll do something soon, because this one thing does take you completely out of the immersion that the game sets. But with that stuttering issue aside and the short campaign runtime, I think the campaign is amazing, and it definitely is a bit of a mind blower as well. For me, if I was to rate the campaign from 1 to 10, I would give it a 7. Not because the story is necessarily bad, but because it's quite short and there are issues going on with the campaign as well with the cutscenes. Other than that, if it was a bit longer and had no issues, I think it'd be one of the best campaigns. But with that said, Black Ops Cold War campaign, you're good, you have a few issues, but I definitely think you're worth playing. And now let's move on to the multiplayer. Now we are on to the MP side of things in Black Ops Cold War, and sadly, most of it's negative. First of all, what I want to discuss is what makes a COD game good for multiplayer, and then break down everything in the game. Normally I would go over how many maps are in the game and player counts, but since this is a fairly new game, that is not the biggest concern, as they're always adding new maps, and there are not a lot, but there's definitely a lot more people in this game than there probably is past COD games. So let me break down my argument of what makes a good COD game. There are 3 main factors in this, and that is multiplayer maps, guns, and kill streaks. The 3 foundations of COD and what make them a great game. So let's start off with the maps. And to be quite honest, I think this selection of maps from a Treyarch game are the worst we've ever gotten. In a Treyarch game, keep in mind, these maps are definitely a lot better than Modern Warfare selection, but not by much. I talked about this in a previous video that I will put up right now if you want to go watch it for a more inclusive look into the MP, but I believe that the multiplayer maps in Cold War can be put into 3 categories: the good, the mediocre, and the bad. For as of right now, the only maps I will put in the good are Raid and Nuketown. These are remakes from games from the past, Nuketown being originally from Black Ops 1 and Raid from Black Ops 2. In the mediocre, I would put pretty much the rest of the maps except Miami and Cartel, because them ones are going to go into the bad. Obviously these maps come down to personal opinion as well, but in my personal opinion they suck. And the mediocre maps, they're not god awful, but they're not fun to play on. So right there, that is a negative. Now let's move on to the guns, which I think are positive in this game. They're very good in the sense that most of the guns are balanced. Obviously there are a few guns that are going to be a bit more powerful than others, but overall I think they've done a good job with them, and definitely a lot better than Modern Warfare selection. My one gripe with them are that the sound design and the actual weapon design aren't as nice as Modern Warfare's, but practically everything in Cold War doesn't look as nice as Modern Warfare's because it's in a worse engine, essentially. So that's one good thing about the game, but what about kill streaks? And kill streaks are the biggest problem with this game in my personal opinion, because kill streaks are what make COD stand out compared to other games. It's funny how kill streaks are the only thing that make COD stand out differently to other FPS games, yet they're often treated so harshly. With Black Ops Cold War's kill streak system, a lot of them when they're in the air and doing stuff are fine. They're not amazing, there are better ones in Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, but they're okay. The problem is that they're so weak against normal guns and can be shot down almost instantly, and I don't think that's okay. I think once you earn a kill streak, you should get to be able to use it. If someone shoots it down for a rocket launcher, fair enough, but most of the time they don't, and something you spent, I don't know, 3-4 minutes grinding towards not dying to get is instantly gone in 5 seconds. That is not fun, and that's my biggest problem with the kill streaks on Black Ops Cold War. There are other factors that really make the game not too enjoyable for me, like skill-based matchmaking, which is probably the worst it's ever been in this game, but I feel like we say that every year. So I guess it comes down to my personal opinion now, and I'm going to tell you if Black Ops Cold War multiplayer is worth buying. I'll say it like this: it's not the worst COD game in the world, but it's definitely the worst in the Black Ops series. And obviously there's other things due to this because we're in the pandemic and they didn't have enough time to make the game, obviously, and it's obviously been rushed out. But when something's not good, something's not good. This game could have the potential of being the best COD game if they fix all the problems, but they're not going to do that. So if you can get the game at a decent price and you're just looking for a first-person shooter play and not really care too much about, you know, doing well and stuff, then I recommend it. I think the game at a core basis is not the worst product in the world, and it's probably worth the money. But if you're looking for a game to grind end on end, I really couldn't recommend it, as it's just not that much fun. The only reason I really play it is to level up my weapons for the next subject where we'll be talking about zombies. And on that note, let's move over to zombies. Multiplayer, you get a 5 out of 10 from me. And as we always do, at the very end, we go over the third game mode, and today is no exception as we're going over zombies. And let me tell you, what an improvement from Black Ops 4. First of all, let's go over what you're actually getting in the mode. And right now, there's only one map, and there'll be a map added soon in Firebase Z on February 4th, and we have Dead Ups Arcade Free as well, which is a little side mode, which is also very fun. But what differs Cold War zombies to past zombies like Black Ops 4, 3, 2, and 1? Well, Cold War brings a lot of new stuff to the table. So let's look in-game first of all. In-game, what we have is we have a crafting table where we can craft kill streaks, lethals, and tacticals. We also have the armor station. At the armor station, you can do two things. One is place armor on yourself, similar to a war zone, and two, you can upgrade the rarity of your weapon. The weapons work a bit different in Cold War as well. With each weapon, there is a rarity, and there are 5 rarities. There is common, there is uncommon, there is rare, epic, and there is legendary. With each version of the weapon getting better than the last, there is also Pack-a-Punch. Pack-a-Punch this time around is you can Pack-a-Punch your weapon 3 times, and each time you Pack-a-Punch it, it goes up in damage. Alongside that, like in past game modes in Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, there is alternate ammo types. And with these, instead of putting your weapon in the machine and getting one randomly, you can actually select which one you'd like, which is a very nice change, and once you pick one, there's nothing stopping you from picking another one later. There is also a new mechanic in the game called Dark Ether, where you'll go through a portal and you'll get sent to another dimension. With this, you can do other things like break crystals, and you'll get ammo, and even maybe if you're lucky, a ray gun. The Dark Ether is definitely more aimed towards Easter egg use. You may also find yourself in there when you're building the wonder weapons, but other than that, there's not too much purpose in the Dark Ether, and you don't really need to go into it that much. With the actual zombie map on this, The Machine, there are many great things about it. One thing is that it's simple yet refreshing. With the map layout, it is very welcoming to new players, and it actually gives player hints on what to do next, like when you do Pack-a-Punch and other sorts of things around the map as well. An example of these other things are exfils. Exfils are also a new system in the game where if you get bored of killing zombies, you can leave the map by calling in a helicopter to pick you up. What will happen in this period is zombies will get very chaotic and start sprinting towards you. You have to make your way to a certain area of the map and then kill a certain amount of zombies in that area, and then you'll be able to get picked up. If not, the chopper gets shot down. This is another great addition to the game, and I'm assuming they got inspiration for this from custom zombies, which is very nice. But going back to the machine in itself, the layout, like I said, is simple but refreshing. There is also a rebate connector and totem from World at War in the game as well, and it's quite fitting for this new beginning, as it was the first zombie map we ever gotten, and I think with this fresh take on the Ether storyline, which ended at Black Ops 4, but now obviously we have the Dark Ether storyline, I think they want to keep a bit of that old stuff in with the new. Something else I really like about Cold War Zombies is that they're actually listening to the community, and they're very much so this time focusing more on gameplay rather than story. And one last little thing is I love that they brought back the original perks with their tunes and nice little remodel designs. I really appreciate that, and that shows that they're properly listening to the community, because we all love nostalgia. Now it's going to come down to me telling you if I think Cold War Zombies is worth buying or not. And yes, absolutely. I think Cold War Zombies has the most potential out of all the zombie games we've gotten, just because the engine for the game is so good, and all the new additions they added in really makes it unique compared to the other ones. And there's so many ways you can play in this game as well. There's camping, there's training, there's a mixture of both. And as well as that, there is crossplay, so you're never ever going to be waiting to find a random lobby with randoms. But if I had to rate Cold War Zombies from 1 to 10, it'd have to be a solid 9. With that said guys, we have made it to the end of the video. If you did all watch it all the way through, then please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. Also leave a comment in the comment section below if you're going to end up buying Cold War because of this video. I love to hear your feedback. And with that said, I will see yous in the next one. Goodbye.